Happy New Year, Taurus. So we're going to have a look at the year ahead for Taurus through the equinox chart, which is the astrological new year, and it relates to April next year. Firstly, we're going to have a look at your planetary positions, and then we're going to do a couple of spreads. So you've had Uranus in your first sector for quite a while, and it will be coming out around the middle of May. So with this last little touch of Uranus in your first sector, it's been a long time of changes and unsettled sort of energies where I feel this has been a time of recreating yourself and, through opportunities and through circumstances that could have even happened quite quickly and suddenly to you. So Uranus is making some nice aspects, and so with you having it, really strong in the month of April, I think it's going to be a strong month for Taurus, especially as the Sun moves into your zodiac. You have Uranus is making a soft aspect to the Sun, and so this is like desires for change, but through subtle and unconscious energies, because you have the Sun position is in your 12th sector on this equinox chart. So this means that, you will be, there's this drive to do new things, but it's not really clear what it is with it being in the 12th sector. It's a real strong time of just trusting in the universe, and there's a lot of combinations in here that talk about trusting the universe and going with the flow. Another really nice combination that's going on with Uranus at the moment is Jupiter, and it's making a semi-square, which is a half of a square. So this is quite a when we have the hard aspects, it sort of really comes out into our physical energy. When it's the soft aspects, it's more our abilities and our skills and what we're feeling drawn towards. So this is like a physical manifestation of something that is going to bring you excitement and joy, and where you feel a big relief and new excitement. It's also going to be a new direction with communications, because Jupiter is sitting here in your third sector, and Jupiter is making a nice trine to the Sun, which again is a personal year of personal expansion and growth. So yes, there will be lots of new directions within communication. It's a great time to be making plans with others with these combinations. You have the South Node is sitting in your fifth sector, and this can bring in situations around family, need for communication, and an opportunity to clear any past situations where there's been any misunderstandings. Mercury, with the nodes, Mercury is actually conjuncting the node and opposing the South Node. So again, this is a time for making plans with others, great time for connecting up and communicating with others, but also it's time for expanding your ideas with others, and great time for any sort of negotiations or any new directions. But again, this is all about teamwork and with other people. It's not so much what you're doing on your own, but what you can do with others. I really feel April is going to be an exciting month for you. As Uranus moves into your second sector, and this will be, really obvious by the month of June. It's sort of about 1 degree, moving into 2. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's 2 to 3 degrees by June. This is when you're going to find that there's going to be sudden new growth or opportunities around your financial security. So this could mean there could be investments made, there could be good results with investments, but also it's just very fortunate for anybody wanting to build on their assets or wanting to look at any sort of personal investments that they're interested in. The 10th sector, you've had Pluto sitting there, and again, this is a long-term thing. It's been there for a while. It is going to be there for. Sorry, it's going to be there for a while. And with that, it's about trusting in the universe. It's about trusting that you're just being, 10th sector is all about your direction, your focus, your goals, where you really want to end up. With Pluto there, it's like feeling like that is all out of your control, and you just have to just allow the Vata energy of Pluto to just take its course and to bring you in the right things. So your 11th sector is really active. Your 11th sector is also with friendships, communities, also about, you know, how you contribute to society. And you have the Mercury conjunct Node there, which again is a really active time for friendships, for connections. And with Mars there as well, it's just a very productive and positive time for groups and communities of friends. And in the 12th sector, there's a bit of a lineup with everything in Aries. We have deep subconscious healing going on with this Sun, Saturn, Neptune combination, which was in a midpoint at the time of this equinox. And that means that this is a time for collectively for everybody to sort of look a bit more unconsciously at healing, looking at more, when we say unconsciously, looking at what is within the unconscious, because that is where the healing really starts. In other words, we can do all the physical healing, but this is sort of encouraging us to do the clearing of any emotional trauma or anything, you know, that has been stuck in our system, any boundaries where you've put up because of hurt or pain. With it being in your 12th sector, it's not going to be that obvious, you know, it's not going to be, oh, this is what I need to do, but it's like anytime you are working psychically, anytime you are just meditating, just in your own space where you can communicate with your higher self, you know, there'll be a time to just ask the question, you know, what is it I need to know with regards to what blockages do I need to release? Because this is a perfect time to be doing this. You could have even been doing it in your sleep state, having strange dreams that seem to trigger certain emotions, and, you know, waking up with that recognition that this is, you know, what has been really going on for you at an unconscious level. So for Taurus, again, we have a strong sense of just trust and allowing the unconscious to just unfold. Looks like quite an exciting time for Taurus with these fortunate combinations, making lovely aspects. The chart itself, you know, it's intense with the Sun Neptune, because people could feel like they're in states of confusion or feeling like, you know, it's changing, they can't move forward. The reality is with this chart, we have a lot of soft aspects, we have a lot of great combinations, and nothing, as they call the outer malefic planets, you know, making any hard aspects, except for the conjunction, which is sort of debatable whether that's a hard or soft aspect. It's just is what it is, and it's the time to have it in your face, so to speak, with the conjunction. So let's have a look at the tarot. The tarot always gives me much more clarity on exactly what to expect. So Taurus and the year ahead. So Taurus are very good at speaking their truth. They're very good when they feel, and they're very strong with what is right, what is just. If they feel there's been an injustice, they have they will speak out about it. And these two cards are talking about that. We have the Hierophant and the situation of conflict sometimes. So, like, yes, sometimes we need to speak up and say our truth, and sometimes we need to just sit back and again just trust that people will get it in their own time. So it's probably a bit of a contradiction, because I feel like this is a time when you should be just speaking up and of course using that voice that you have. And Koreans, they rule the throat, so they very good at communicating, singing, expressing through their voice. So they really don't cope with not being able to speak their truth very well. I mean, nobody should really. It's sort of saying it's a bit of going to be over this short period of time. I feel like over the next month, it's going to be, a time to just sort of bite your tongue. When people are not being clear, not being straight up, you're going to sense it, you'll know it. You're very strong in your intuition, and you're just sort of saying, just sit back and wait for things to clear, more understanding or more truth to come out before you take either action or react. So again, we had Mars, this didn't really talk much about Mars. Mars is in the 11th sector. So yes, you may feel inclined to just speak out, especially when it comes to friendships and connections. And I think that's a really important thing to do. And you know, universe is saying if you do that, well, you're being supported in that, but don't get pulled into the dramas. I mean, Taurus is very good at not doing that anyway. Knowing that speaking your truth is enough. Now, wow, the whole lineup. I've done the Celtic cards here, and the whole lineup is all major arcana cards. For any Taurus enthusiasts, we have the Judgment, the Emperor, the Strength, and the Justice and the Outcome. You know, so this is a very, you know, those are not only major, but they're very strong cards, especially in the physical sense of manifestation, but also of taking action. So how you know, generally how you're going to be feeling this year is quite a relief for the changes that are coming in. You know, very good news around, again, security. And like I said, you come to that end of having to recreate yourself over, I feel, the last 8 years or more. This is sort of coming to the time when now you can really reap rewards, especially in a sense of security, in a sense of being able to do what you enjoy doing. With your time. So in other words, what you've been working towards really hard, yes, there's still a lot of work, but it's work that you love and work that you're very skilled at. And you are still developing, you are still developing skills. And so any Taurians that are going into new situations, you know, they might be tired of what they've been doing and wanting to really come into a more fulfilling situation. Relating to their talents and skills, or to relating to what they feel excited or passionate about. You know, this is a time where this can come in and happen. So, you know, we have Judgment, the Pentacles, which is, you know, very good security, and the page here, so the lighting's not great, represents, you know, new skills, new talents, new love. Sometimes it's relative to children, you know, how we feel when a baby is born. But, you know, in this position, this is all actually about your career and, you know, what you're doing with your time. And it does look like, yes, you can go, you know, this is the what I call the Jupiter Uranus card. You can go, well, thank goodness for that. You know, just checking out the Jupiter Uranus again, it's the first and third sector. So this can have, you know, can be to do with, in, you know, because of your skills within your communication, but it's also about how you present yourself and how you, you know, well, express yourself. You know, it's also around, I feel, family and children. You know, you're also excited about what's going on for those close to you as well. So there's a really good offer, again, to do with security. So some could be making changes within their living circumstances. And if your living circumstances are ideal and you're wanting to make change, or you're just wanting to be in your own space more, this is sort of saying you can take control of your living circumstances more so. So when I'm saying that, what I'm meaning is you may want to purchase a property, you may want to live on your own, you may want to purchase more property because, again, you've got a really good situation with Jupiter Uranus here, and there was something else around your security. Oh yes, with Uranus going into the second, it looks like, again, you know, yeah, you've got a lot of help to get into situations that you would prefer for yourself. So good people around you. And one in particular that is going to be helping out. So looks like you're going to have a new perspective on your plan. So where I was talking about Pluto in the 10th, not being able to quite see where your direction is going to lead you, there will actually be a plan, or there will be, when I say it's not really a plan, it's more being able to have foresight into, this is where I want to be, this is the position I want, and this is where I see myself. Even though I don't even know exactly what that will look like, I know I'm on the right direction. It's like you're leaving, you know, anything where you felt you weren't honouring yourself behind, and you're moving into situations where you truly feel this is right for you. So Taurus, you have some really exciting news about connections, relationships. This year is going to be really good for you. Let's see where we placed Venus in your 12th sector with the moon. So I feel like around May, June, you're going to make some really important connections where it's going to be the partnerships for work or partnerships for love, or it could even be both. There does seem to be a lot of financial support and good male energy support in these cards for anyone who's wanting fair and just outcomes or fair and just situations. Any legal issues that Taurians having, or and when I say legal, may not be an issue. It may be just a could be signing agreements, again, buying property, anything where you're looking at contracts or any forms of documents, legal documents. This is the perfect time, again, to really make things happen for yourself. And because it's sort of saying here, the World card, you've come to the end of the cycle. This is a time where you can start to really reap the rewards for all the lessons learned in the past. Spirit is saying be patient. Don't get pulled around by other people's energies. Like I said, you're very good at that, but the problem with Taurus is later they can worry about things. They're very much like to work things out in their head. And it's really important actually that when we have situations, we don't go there in situations that have made us feel uncomfortable, or situations that are conflicting. We don't go there in our heads and try to nut it out and ask why. Because when we ask the universe why, the universe keeps bringing us the same experience. And it's not the same experience wanting to bring back to you of duality. It's more about union, these cards. And this is sort of saying that where you've been around a bit of duality or a bit of conflicting situations, the universe is sorting this out. So again, a great time for trusting, Taurus. So I'm going to do a zodiac spread now and just see if we can see anything else that I can talk about. Like I said, this is a powerful year for Taurus. It's a year where things are going to move forward, changes are going to, you've been making over this last year or so, are going to start to really pay off in the sense of your financial security. And it will feel a bit unsettled with Uranus in the second, but again, this isn't really going to matter because, Taurus has been going through this whole, getting used to this energy of just trust in the universe and just trust that everything will be okay. I think that probably most of them watching this video probably stop worrying about some of these things or what could happen, all the what ifs. Probably about 8-9 years ago, just let it go. You have to with Uranus, and in fact, it makes life quite exciting to see how the universe wants to manifest. So, nice. 7. So the first card coming up is all about celebrations and connecting with people that you really enjoy or looking forward to seeing, people that maybe you haven't seen for a while. They could be overseas or just of relationships, reconnecting, all new relationships coming in. So April is quite an exciting month for Taurus. Finances are just perfect position. You couldn't get a better financial card here than this one. And this is all about abundance. Now, abundance is what we feel abundance is. So, this is can come in the form of large sums of money, but also it can just come on all your needs met, having everything you need plus more, being able to share what you have. She's rich, but she is rich with environment. She's rich because she is in a place where the environment is providing her all the fruits and everything she needs to nourish herself. But with all the coins around her neck, she is sitting in a very good position financially. The third sector of communication, people feel a little bit emotional over this year. There'll be times when it's like you just you're speaking from your heart, which is great. It's really the place you want to speak from. Sometimes the emotions can play on us a little bit and we can feel a little bit overwhelmed. So, sometimes we also need to protect ourselves, even though this isn't really a year of protection, it's more a year of trust. And I think trusting in your heart and trusting that you can communicate what you are emotionally feeling with honesty, and still be, you know, a loving, caring personality. So your home space is coming to a whole new cycle, saying that you can take more control in the home environment. It's also saying that you can create new situations in the home environment, or even create your own business. It's coming into this whole new cycle of, you can be productive from the home space. And anyone who's not working from home, this could be an opportunity if you're wanting to do that, because it does seem to be a lot of activity, a lot of focus within the home environment, as well as security. Not really many problems here. There might be a few, those with children, there might be a few little issues sort of are coming up to clear, where anyone who has not really expressed emotions over the past and is needing to really communicate what they're truly feeling, or they could be feeling like sort of like they're a bit sorry for how they reacted, or sorry for how they've been in the past. So, that's quite an interesting card. But also, like, you could also feel a bit bad if you spoke your truth a bit loud, and then felt like, again, the emotions will kick in, because it is a bit of, like I said, a bit of an emotional year, where you will feel that afterwards and think, well, was that a bit rough? Was that a bit harsh? But Taurus actually generally don't do that, so it's quite interesting that's here. I sort of feel like you're just reaching out to those that you're close to, because that have children. Like I said, they may need you a little bit more this year for certain things. There's going to be some decisions around your work, trying to balance things out, trying to juggle things a bit. Looks like there's probably more work than you anticipated. Make sure you take time out for yourself, and also trips away. You might also be thinking again about moving, relocating, living in another environment. That won't be coming up for, I don't think, for at least 6 months yet, 5 to 6 months. But the where am I meant to be is a bit of a question, but it's more like, because sitting in your place of your daily routine and your work, again, where do I want to set myself up? So it's sort of looking at, like, again, a big picture. It's not just, I can just be here for a short period of time. It's more like wanting to be in the one place and really stabilise into this new cycle that you're coming into. Real busy time for relationships, with having the connection, the celebration, the engagement card, the reconnecting, and quite often this is about people you already know that you're reconnecting with. But this is with this fire energy in here. This is full on. Let's make things happen now. Let's make it happen. So again, this is all new, sort of either new relationships or existing relationships coming into a much better balance. Or when I say balance, it may not be the right word. Coming into a better sort of being on board with each other, making things happen, where one person is sort of having to quite, like, putting both their feet in, really, into the relationship, not just, dabbling in it, but really going, okay, let's just get on with this relationship now. Really good news when you've got these two cards opposite each other, the Justice in the second, and this is in the second, and this is in the eighth. It talks again about investment. It talks about situations around entitlements, investments, inheritance. Again, I feel like there's some really good news for you guys around receiving more money, but also money that you were not expecting, money that's sort of been in the hands of others, even though it could be your money, if that makes sense. And we'll leave it at that. Okay, you'll have moments where it's like things are changing, and you're letting go of the old, letting go of what no longer serves you. You're really clear about where you want to be, but at times you can feel a bit sad for what hasn't worked out, or what you have had to let go of. And it's just this process again of letting go, but it's about letting go of past disappointment. Now, when I say that, that may not be a conscious thing. Sitting in the eighth sector, that's not a very conscious place. It's like you may not realise that within you is still a bit of grief or a bit of sadness over something that didn't work out, or over things that have happened, and it could be quite a long time ago. And you may not think, oh, this isn't an issue anymore, but, unfortunately, sometimes these things absorbed into our energy fields and even into our bodies, that it's like, yes, there was that time when I felt this, and now I release it. And we say the opposite to whatever the feeling is, and we release it and ask for it to be cleared. Really exciting time for I want to say again, your career and your home experiences. The Hierophant, which was been coming up in sort of every spread, and really for Taurus, and really is your card actually. It can relate to the teacher, can relate to all your knowledge that you have. So Taurus is esoterically ruled by Vulcan, and Vulcan is a very, very spiritual card, and this is the spiritual master, if you like, and I don't like those words, and it can relate to negative or positive. With this position, it's just again saying we are looking after your direction, as in we, spirit, your higher self, your connection to spirit. The universe is looking after your direction. Trust in it. We are bringing in a whole new cycle where you can truly express yourself at a whole new level with great success. So you're going to be really, really focused on making big plans for your future. As in financial, again, anyone who is wanting to, like again, I was getting agreement, maybe property purchase, anyone who's wanting to borrow money or help out others with money. It's like money is going to be not an issue for any Taurians here, the way I see it. And in fact, if anything, you're going to be reaching out and sharing a lot more, especially within communities. And, you really feel that you have a purpose, a soul path relative to connections, relative to communities, being in certain communities and contributing and feeling like you're making a difference. And that's all coming through the Hangman. And, that is a time where money isn't actually what you're chasing. And you might go, I don't really need the money. But it's like, I think you're needing it for your own sense of security and for your own sense of this is how I want to live my life. So with this, it's like, okay, now I have more of that freedom. I can actually give more out into the community and, be the true healer, that I am. And healing comes in all forms. It comes through communication. It can come through music. It can come through offering those services of healing. But also, as again, contributing, it might even be part of a group thing that is collectively working for the betterment for humanity. It can be very, very deep psychic experiences. You've got, this is a bit of a sudden realization or sudden understanding. It's like, I didn't see that coming, It's like, it reminds me of when you see spirit or you see something outside of your normal vision, or you come to a realization, and it's like, well, it's sort of very, very, very clear. But to me, it reminds me of being clairvoyant. So with that, being in that 12th sector, I feel like your dream states are going to be very, very vivid, I would say very colourful, and you'll be experiencing that at a new level. And I'd say your dream state, that could be daydreaming, that could just be during the day, but this is a heightened awareness within your psychic understanding or your psychic abilities. Also, there could be sort of things that have been hidden coming out for you to look at, to go, oh, I always felt that, but now I can truly see it. I can truly see more clearly now. And also, with that 12th sector being, all those combinations, and you've got Chiron in that position too, which also relates to healing, as well as the Sun, Saturn, Neptune. You know, for the body, it's again dreams that will bring you healing, or just lying down, meditations, you know, having a nap. You know, go, wow, that was really crazy. But I feel like I was actually getting a healing or getting refreshed. So again, trust the universe is with you, um, helping you to move forward. So, you know, the whole summing up this whole reading, you are really taking control of your own situation. Those that aren't in business are going to be, I feel, you know, want to work for themselves. This is a great time to do it. You know, those that are wanting more security, you know, you will be able to do it through your own leadership skills, and that comes through the Emperor, through the stability card here, which I see as the home situation, and this here sort of representing offers, options and choices for you. So you have some fabulous changes coming up and opportunities. There's going to be a lot to do with coming through others in these cards, the right people in the right places and the right timing. So I hope you enjoyed that, Taurus, and have a great day. Bye.